Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television Network. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce, and we have a lot of exciting action coming your way. It'll be Wild Bill Irvin in the ring against the inimitable Junkyard Dog. Kelly Kinski takes on King Kong Bundy. Hacksaw Butch Reed is here, and just before we went on the air, a consultation between Mid-South officials, a big surprise bout to tell. Bill, why don't you tell them about it?
Well, Boyd, I'll tell you, I think everybody was shocked. And you know the man that's generally at the bottom of the surprise is the General Skandor Akbar, and he's offered $25,000 in the winner-take-all match for the Mid-South Tag Team titles, and he's got a new team. I thought it would be Kamala and the Ninja, but it's not that team. But let's listen to this pre-conference interview with Reeser Bowden.
Pay very close attention to this because it's probably the biggest news you'll hear in a long time. Just shortly before taping of our television program, I was called into a news conference by the officials of Mid-South Wrestling and by General Skandor Akbar. This is a history-making news conference, believe me. As you well know, General Skandor Akbar is definitely a man of means, and price is no object when it comes to getting what he wants. Now, he has offered the largest amount of money ever in wrestling history to obtain a Mid-South Tag Team title match. $25,000 has been offered for this title match with one stipulation, and that is that he does not have to reveal who his team would be. Of course, I'm sure that there's a lot of speculation among the fans right now, as there was with me. I figured that surely General Skandor Akbar's team would probably consist of people like Kamala and possibly the Black Ninja.
Of course, $25,000 is an astronomical amount of money for one match, winner take all. Unheard of in the annals of all of professional wrestling. But I feel that the culmination of this awesome team that I have put together may be the coup de grace of anything the General's ever done. And to think Mid-South is groping in the dark, wanting to know who this great team is. And wrestling number 2 and Tiger Conway, greedy as they are, they took it hook, line, and sinker. Let me reveal this awesome team right now.
And here they are.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Indeed.
General Skandor Akbar, without a doubt, the most successful manager in professional wrestling. Track record speaks for itself. Ted DiBiase is still upset with Mid-South for its handling of the Rat Pack in the title situation. My partner, Hacksaw Duggan, in my absence, took it upon himself, got a little rambunctious, and fired Matt Bourne. Ted DiBiase is the captain of the Rat Pack. And my decision is a decision that stands, and this is my decision. I admire Mr. Olympia for one very important reason. He was so loyal to his ex-partner that he gave himself entirely. You put that same loyalty, Mr. Olympia, in me and Skandor Akbar, and I'll take you right to the top.
Well, you know, I've learned a lot. My loyalty lies with me, but my financial agreement and loyalty lies with Skandor Akbar and Mr. DiBiase. And let me say this, the Junkyard Dog, everybody saw on tape that he was lying there, unconscious. I beat him, I had him beat. And in a board meeting, they had, you know, they took it upon themselves to hold the belt up and stop payment on my check, my money. Well, it's not over. Wrestling 2, you're number 1 on the list. Dog, you're on that list. You know, I was loyal to a lot of people. I'm a man of my word. When I say something, I do it. I had to leave town for 60 long days. That's a lot of money out of my pocket. But you know, it all happened when Wrestling 2 came in here, and they just kind of shoved Mr. Olympia aside. Well, DiBiase...
They might have stopped payment on your check. Let's stop this team.
Well, there you have it, Mr. Olympia and Ted DiBiase. The contract has been signed. General Skandor Akbar did pull off a slick one. There's no question about that. $25,000 worth, and the Mid-South Tag Team titles will be on the line. How about a surprise like that?
$25,000, Ted DiBiase, Mr. Olympia, and Skandor Akbar. What a crew. We'll see the reaction of Tiger Conway Jr. and Mr. Wrestling 2, the Mid-South Tag Champions, a little bit later, but let's go to the ring. Reeser Bowden with our first bout.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 320 pounds from Atlantic City, New Jersey, King Kong Bundy. And in the blue corner at 268 pounds from Vancouver, British Columbia, Kelly Kinski.
Introduction of the event, King Kong Bundy, the big man, being held off by referee Rick Ferreira versus Kelly Kinski, the son of the former world heavyweight champion, Gene Kinski. Bill?
Boy, you know, I was just reflecting. I don't know when the size factor is going to stop. It seems like the athletes are getting bigger and stronger. They've been more dedicated to their sport for a longer period of time. They have more technique, more skills, more power. There's Kelly Kinski, 260 pounds, and when I got into the wrestling field, he would have been considered a large man. And there he's dwarfed by King Kong Bundy, who says, "Come on, boy." King Kong Bundy, the man who says that there's not going to be any doubt when he wins the match that the referee can count to 5. He doesn't need to just count to 3. He's going to plant him until he goes to 5. Look at him. He just throws Kelly Kinski. Again, 260 pounds, 6'4", Kelly Kinski. And he's throwing him around like not even there. Just amazing. A great main event coming up next on Mid-South Television Wrestling. The Junkyard Dog against Wild Bill Irwin. Kelly Kinski went for a cross-body block. Bundy had missed the wild swing with the back forearm, but Kelly Kinski just like running into a brick wall, and now Bundy starting to deal some real agony, some real pain, some real blues and punishment to Kelly Kinski as he just flat shows that he can shift it in gear and devastate you. I'd like to see a match between he and, oh my goodness, I don't know if Kelly Kinski, I don't know how his back could withstand that. He just, look, one hand he picks him up and slams him. His big splash, whatever he calls it, he just devastated. Look at him, wait a minute, there he pulled the, wait a minute, he pulled the referee back for a 2 count. He wants it, 3 plus 2 is 5 counts.
And thus far he's carried it out in every match he's had, Bill, and he carried it to the 5 again. King Kong Bundy, Victor, we'll be back. The Junkyard Dog versus Wild Bill Irvin after this message.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 258 pounds from Minnesota, Wild Bill Irwin. And at 283 pounds from Tennessee, the Junkyard Dog.
Wild Bill Irvin in the ring with his bullwhip against the People's Choice, the Junkyard Dog.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's against about a 10-foot logging chain there, and I think Bill Irwin better put his whip up. You know, he's made some remarks that really strike home to JYD and Hacksaw Butch Reed, Tiger Conway, and Wrestling 2 about after he beats him, he's going to mark him with his whip. And that's really biting pretty deep, you know. That's getting down into pride and manhood. And I know the Junkyard Dog was really tuned up, really looking toward to this match. He's still upset with the Olympia and Akbar and Ninja situation the 21st of March in downtown New Orleans. And of course, Mid-South Sports went on the line and made a record landmark decision when they held up that North American title and that $10,000 check. And Olympia is really squawking. He's saying he won it in the ring and got it taken away from him in a private meeting in the boardroom of the Mid-South Board of Directors. And Akbar's got his attorneys working on it about the stop payment of the check. Of course, when the notice was sent out, the title was held up. Mr. Olympia refused to return the check. I think that it's a brave move. You know, I think anybody, if the Junkyard Dog got beat fair and square, or even had the Junkyard Dog been beaten in an unfair manner, Mid-South would not have reversed or held up the title. But the fact of the matter was, the referee, who was very addled at the time from a blow called a pinfall when Junkyard Dog was on his face, on his stomach, and it's impossible to be pinned on your stomach. And therefore, when Olympia got off of him, And although the dog was unconscious, there wasn't a 10 count to give him a chance to regain his feet. Neither was he checked for the sleeper position, as Olympia didn't even have a hold of him. So Mid-South just said, wait a minute, hold the phone, the title's held up. And Junkyard Dog is fuming. He wants a hunk of that Olympia, I can promise you that, as does Wrestling 2. Wrestling 2 was just about beside himself because he'd had an incident where he had uncovered the plot of Mr. Olympia, the psychological warfare, and everybody here in Mid-South, myself included, tried to caution him too and say, have some patience, it just couldn't be him. You know, I personally received some tremendous letters of people that were just devastated by what Mr. Olympia did. They couldn't believe it, they just were hurt. But in the years I've sat here with you, Boyd, and in the years in the ring, I've seen greed and false pride and life do strange things to people, and they can justify almost any angle they want to look at it. They can do some of the darndest things you ever saw and just have a reason that's clear-cut in their own mind as to why it's right. Reverse headlock, Wild Bill Irwin. We've seen this man really advance here we saw him when he was just a youngster in the wrestling business, a tough preliminary kid taking all comers. He's now grown in stature, been a main eventer in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And he's over here trying the king of wrestling. He's trying the man that if you could beat him right here on TV, the whole world hears about it. So it's an important match to Wild Bill Irwin. Junkyard Dog, heavy forearm right in over the heart. Takes a lot of wind out. Reverse headlock. Coming up will be Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway against Mr. Olympia and Ted DiBiase for the Mid-South Tag titles. That'll be coming up shortly. Next is Hacksaw Butch Reed. Looks like the dog spitting up a little. Got a lip split there. Wild Bill Irwin quick to his advantage, staying right on top of the superstar, the JYD. Crowd starting to chant, Junkyard Dog, Junkyard Dog. Shoulder tackle. Bill Irwin went for, he caught the dog right in the jaw with a foot, but the dog just rocked back, pulled it up, and came off that rope, extended himself, clotheslined him. JYD is really carrying the battle to him. There he goes for the big thump. And a thumper just drops one. Alfred Neely counts ball.
Wild Bill Irwin stirred up a hornet's nest in the form of Junkyard Dog, who gains the victory, and we'll be back after this word from Mid-South Wrestling Television Network.
I know that Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. were a little shocked by Akbar's new team. But one thing that also surely brought a light to their eyes was Akbar's put up $25,000 to get this match. Let's hear their reaction to this challenge by Skandor Akbar.
Well, gentlemen, as you have heard, I'm quite sure, $25,000 has been put on the line by General Skandor Akbar in a winner-take-all match for the Mid-South Tag Team titles. The contracts have been signed. Tiger Conway and Mr. Wrestling 2 have agreed to put their belts on the line against an unknown team, but now that team has been revealed.
That's right, and everybody saw who it was. It's a surprise, true enough, but I'd like to say this. Akbar, Olympia, Ted DiBiase, these belts mean a lot to Wrestling 2 and myself. Come and get them. We're ready for you. Ted DiBiase, I got one score to settle with you, and all the people know exactly what that is. You knocked me out with that glove, and I tell you, I've never forgot it. And all I've been doing is waiting for an opportunity to get back at you. And this is my opportunity, and I guarantee you I'm going to take it like I never took it before, and I'm going to bring it to you.
Well, of course, Ted DiBiase and Mr. Olympia make one tremendous team, and $25,000 is a lot of money.
How do you know they make a good team? How do you know? What makes you think there's such a great team? Yeah, you guys want this right here. You put $25,000 up in order to get the match. Well, that's fine and dandy with me, my friend, because Olympia, I told the people that you were the cause of all this, and I proved it. And now, sir, it's going to give me great pleasure to get into that ring, not only to defend these, not only to take $25,000 away from you, but to beat you half to death.
We'll have that battle for the Mid-South Tag Team titles against $25,000. But first, let's go to Reeser Bowden and this next match.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, at 280 pounds from El Paso, Texas, Frank Levert. And in the blue corner, at 252 pounds from Kansas City, Missouri, Hacksaw Butch Reed.
Newcomer Frank Levert taking on a man who is establishing himself among Mid-South fans. Hacksaw Butch Reed, Rick Ferreira, the referee. Here's Bill.
Hacksaw Butch Reed, a great athlete. This young man played football at Northeastern Oklahoma A&M in Miami, Oklahoma. Played 2 years there as a linebacker. And he played at Central Missouri State when he was all-conference and all-American at linebacker. If you can imagine, when you want to talk about athletic ability, at 240 pounds of body weight when he's in college, he ran a 4.840. You kids think about that. That's that speed and that size going together. Look at the good height. In the off-season, he was a power lifter in the 242-pound class at his college. Of course, then he played the 76-77 season with the Kansas City Chiefs at linebacker. Been wrestling pro ever since. This man is some kind of man. He now weighs about 252. And boy, he's another one that's in the 500-pound club in the bench press. And there's just not a lot of people in that club because that's some powerhouse lifting. And Frank Levert's going to find out he can lay that soup bone right across you, too. Arm whip. Big Frank Levert's getting welcomed his first time to Mid-South Wrestling. What an awesome welcome to have to face Hacksaw Butch Reed. Of course, he and Hacksaw Dugan are in a battle to finally establish once and for all the superiority and the right to carry the name Hacksaw. Dugan says Hacksaw Butch Reed's a little too pretty to be a hacksaw, and he's gonna mess his looks up a little bit. Well, I gotta agree with one thing, that if looks count as being a hacksaw, Dugan is sure gonna be a mean hacksaw. Whoa, did you see that cross body block? He leaped about 6-8 feet in the air, topped that man. He and Dugan used a lot of similar tactics also. Dugan used a spear and Reed uses kind of a flying body block that was more the shoulder than the head, which is more the legal way in pro football. The shoulder block was more legal. It's when you speared somebody with your head that it became kind of a projectile or a weapon out there. Front face lock on Frank Levert, and Levert's not too active right now. Hacksaw Butch Reed has got him pretty well under control at this point. Coming up next, Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. against Mr. Olympia and Ted DiBiase. $25,000 against the Mid-South Tag titles. Winner take all, and Skandor Akbar is going to be in their corner. Oh, Frank Levert just got the end of a body whip there and went right into the turnbuckles. A little slow getting up there. I think some of the wind's been taken out of that big boy. No, it doesn't do any good just to be big unless you got that agility and that conditioning and that stamina and that courage. Oh, you can hear that one over here, Boyd. That left jab really smacked on the jaw of Frank Levert. Hacksaw Butch Reed is out there. He's showing off a little bit, showboating around because he's enjoying himself. This is what he loves. And there you see that flying shoulder tackle, and he wraps a man up with an inside cradle.
And a victory goes to Hacksaw Butch Reed. We'll be back. The Mid-South Tag Team title on the line versus $25,000 after this important message.
And now it's a winner-take-all title match for the Mid-South Tag Team Championships and the $25,000 purse put up by General Skandor Akbar. This event is for one fall or remaining television time, and it is for the Mid-South Tag Team titles. In the red corner, the select team of General Skandor Akbar, former North American heavyweight champion at 268 pounds from Omaha, Nebraska, Ted DiBiase. And at 244 pounds, a former Mississippi heavyweight champion, Mr. Olympia. In the blue corner, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions at 236 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Wrestling 2. And his partner at 238 pounds from Houston, Texas, Tiger Conway Jr.
Mr. Olympia and Ted DiBiase in the corner, managed by General Skandor Akbar, who's put up $25,000 to get a shot at those titles. You see referee Alfred Neely taken away from the champions during the match, Mr. Wrestling 2 and Tiger Conway Jr. Winner takes all, and there's the bell, and here's Bill.
Well, Boyd, since hearing the announcement, I've been trying to reflect on this a little bit. Akbar is cunning in his ingenious method. He dangled the bait, $25,000, but his stipulations, he called a press conference with matchmaker Grizzly Smith with the champions, and he said, I'll offer $25,000 if I get the title match right here today on television, and I will not reveal the team. Well, $25,000 is a lot of incentive for a television title match. And Conway and 2 being wrestling champions, men that are out there to defend the title and earn their money, they snapped at the match. On thinking about it, you got to figure Akbar's got something else up his sleeve. With DiBiase out there, just back from a tour of Japan and the Orient, and a man that has no love for wrestling 2, Mr. Olympia, who we know has no love for wrestling 2, and now Skandor Akbar. Also, I recall DiBiase promising Hacksaw Jim Dugan that he would have nothing to do with Skandor Akbar. It seems like DiBiase's been drawn deeper and deeper into the net of the General. Wonder what effect that'll have on the Rat Pack. You can hear the emotion in the crowd. The crowd was going 2-2-2. Great athletes, fast moving action. Look at Conway moving. He can flat truck. And then here comes a living legend, Mr. Wrestling 2, a man who just, listen to 2. This is the moment he's wanted. He has been wanting Mr. Olympia since that day right here when we saw him find in Mr. Olympia's suitcase the symbolic material representing Wrestling 2's trademark that defamed and destroyed. And Wrestling 2 has been wanting to lay that knee on Mr. Olympia since that point when he was restrained that day. He was so mad he couldn't spit. Listen to the crowd. 2.
And he's being restrained again, Bill. He really wants him.
Well, Boyd, I love the seat we have right here. This right now, something. Skandor Akbar, I know him too well. You know him too well. He's got to have something. Conway and Wrestling 2 have really got to be on their toes here. But if they can outsmart the General and whatever he's got cooked up, they're going to take $25,000 of his money to the bank. That's $12,500 apiece. I'm telling you, that's a lot of strokes. And of course, Wrestling 2 didn't get to be where he was with Tiger Conway Jr. His father was a great athlete also in pro wrestling. These guys have been around. They're not rookies. Body check. You know, DiBiase and 2 go a long way back. They had some battles over that North American title. Both of them have held the North American title. Whoa, look at that knee lift. 2 really connected. DiBiase wanting out of there. Mr. Olympia wanting the referee to clear 2 back. He wants to be able to get in. And he's got to have room to get in the ring. He doesn't want to catch that knee as he's ducking into the rope. DiBiase charged 2, try to catch him off guard, but Mr. Wrestling 2 is a hard man to catch off guard. Tags out. He and Tiger Conway Jr. working like a well-oiled team. I'm sure the Junkyard Dog has got to be vitally interested in this match because there's 2 men that are real thorn in his side out there in DiBiase and Mr. Olympia. Hacksaw Jim Dugan not here today. I wonder what his thoughts are. He's made it crystal clear he wants nothing to do with Akbar and anything about Akbar. That the Iranian situation where Akbar used to be the manager of the Iranian Sheik, the Iron Sheik, just stuck in his craw. Tiger Conway going for broke there. You got to gamble some. Problem is when you're gambling against a man like DiBiase, a former North American champion, former 1/2 of the Mid-South Tag Team champion, you're gambling against a man that at any moment can go with a home run. Mr. Olympia right in on top of Conway. They know when they get a man injured, they know to press the attack, press the advantage. Now they're starting that fast tag in and out, trying to keep Conway in there and not let him get back to Wrestling 2. You'll see them try to keep him from getting to wrestling too, so they can keep pounding him, keep working on him, keep taking his oxygen supply, his will to fight out of him, till they can finally hammer him into submission. Fast tag again. I'll tell you for sure, you can't take away anything from the athletic ability of Mr. Olympia and Ted DiBiase. These men have been in championship positions most of their wrestling career. They're always right close to the top. They let him get away, bad mistake. And there's wrestling too. Say no more, he's fighting both of them right now, popping them with knees. He's like a Tasmanian devil sometimes. He just seems like he just gets wound up and is almost unstoppable. Look at DiBiase, the referee trying to maintain order. It's almost impossible in these tag matches when these tempers start flaring and getting out of control. But DiBiase there, he certainly brought two to a fast halt, got out of the way, and wrestling two has been slowed down. DiBiase going for the coup de grace. Oh, he missed it. He went for broke. He went for the home run. Sometime when you swing for the fence, you often strike out. Tiger Conway Jr. in with DiBiase. Conway and Beal. Akbar getting up on the ring. Conway into the victory roll. He's got DiBiase pinned, but Skandor Akbar drew the referee, and Mr. Olympia made an illegal save. Jumped in and kicked Tiger Conway right in the face. The subterfuge, the distraction by Skandor Akbar, a ring-wise veteran himself. Referee counting them both. Conway go over the tag. DiBiase tags Mr. Olympia. Can Conway get the two? Oh, that was close. Olympia cut him off, and he's got Conway in the sleeper. He's got him in the sleeper. Conway fighting that sleeper. DiBiase cheering Mr. Olympia on. Akbar jumping up and down, the tension, the pressure mounting. If they can put Conway out, Akbar's got the Mid-South tag titles. Two's getting the crowd to cheer for Conway. Get that adrenaline flowing. Conway fighting to his feet. He's got Olympia up. Conway did a backbreaker on Olympia. He has Olympia up. Can Conway get enough oxygen, enough strength, enough coherence to get back to his partner too and tag him in? DiBiase calling for Olympia to make the tag, knowing both men are hurt, both men are groggy. Two, the fans are exhorting Conway. Olympia, gut shot, headlock. Oh, both men. Here comes DiBiase, but wrestling two. DiBiase going into the tights, he's loading up his glove. But wrestling two spotted it, he's coming, he doesn't care. He's not gonna let DiBiase take advantage. What did Akbar
on the far side.
Akbar handed Mr. Olympia, is putting something on his foot. Mr. Olympia is putting something on his foot while wrestling two is occupied the referee. He just dropped, he like to tore Conway's head off with that drop kick. Two knee lifts DiBiase out, but it's too late. It's too late. Mr. Olympia just pinned Tiger Conway Jr. That was the most devastating drop kick I've ever seen. There was something on his foot. Akbar handed him something. Look at Conway out there, wrestling two, bending over him. But DiBiase and Mr. Olympia have the Mid-South Tag Team titles. And Conway, he's unconscious, Boyd.
He's out, Bill.
Boy, he's out. A drop kick doesn't knock you out by itself.
And we'll be back when action returns after this message from Mid-South Wrestling.
It's tag team action now for one fall or remaining television time. In the blue corner at 250 pounds from Topeka, Kansas, Art Cruz. And his partner at 205 pounds from Birmingham, Alabama, Mike Jackson. Coming into the ring now at 385 pounds, managed by General Skandor Akbar, Kamala, the Ugandan warrior. And his partner at 250 pounds from the Far East, the Black Ninja, Kendo Nagasaki.
Well, there you have it. What a conglomeration it is, and a gloating General Skandor Akbar to guide the forces of the Black Ninja and Kamala, the Ugandan warrior.
Well, the scales are certainly tipped in his favor, Boyd. You know, I'm sitting back and reflecting. Of course, we were looking, and we're sitting back and viewing from afar. We were looking for what trick the general would have up his sleeve in that last bout, and that gives you a big advantage over Conway and Wrestling 2, are right in the middle of the action, fighting as hard as they could with all their heart to defend that Mid-South title to their honor of the prestige given by that title, and also to gain and take money from Skandor Akbar. But certainly Akbar just had one too many aces, or maybe jokers, up his sleeve there, as he apparently handed something to Mr. Olympia. Mr. Olympia put it on his foot and then drop kicked Tiger Conway Jr. and just knocked him cold. It was almost the end of the commercial break here before they got Tiger Conway out of the ring. He was still in Dream Street. He just his knees were wobbling and breaking, and he couldn't walk totally under his own power. And now here's Akbar right back out with another awesome team. You know, I think one of the matches I'd like to have seen, as I was saying earlier, would be King Kong Bundy against Kamala. I think that would be a fantastic bout. I'm sure that Akbar wouldn't want that match, though. He likes to hand-pick the opponents for Kamala. Of course, Kamala has found all he can handle in JYD and Mr. Wrestling 2 and Hacksaw Butch Reed and Andre the Giant. And Kamala's found that these guys don't back off from him. He's going to have to whip them in order to beat them. Of course, with the general in your corner and the Black Ninja who can come in and spew the green flame. And now DiBiase and Mr. Olympia. It looks like Skandor Akbar just has it all wrapped up. It's really going to be a tough road to hoe. He's going to have the superior in numbers and size of a lot of athletes with the cohesiveness. DiBiase is a force to be reckoned with, the leader of the Rat Pack. That Mike Jackson, boy, is just quicker than the Dickens. He can flat move around that ring. I've noticed the few times he's been here at Mid-South, he always gives a tremendous account of himself against some top competition. Art Cruz, a youngster who's learning a lot of things the hard way. You see him right out there. He's in school right now, a school of hard knocks. His head almost came off on that one. The Black Ninja really, but Art Cruz.
He popped him, Bill.
He laid the wood to the Black Ninja. And Mike Jackson comes in firing away. Black Ninja in some trouble there. And Mike Jackson quick to follow up the advantage. Nice drop kick. But the Ninja just knocked him right out there, knocked him off balance. There's that thrust kick, and Mike Jackson's head almost comes off. Oh, Mike Jackson's in a bad position right now to let that big savage from Uganda, 385 pounds. Look at him just launch himself. He's devastating like a battleship, a dreadnought.
And another of General Skandor Akbar's team racks up a victory. We have more matches coming up, so stay with us. We'll return right after this word.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 227 pounds from Los Angeles, California, Rip Rogers. And in the blue corner, at 228 pounds from Nashville, Tennessee, Randy Barber.
Rip Rogers from California in the psychedelic pink versus his opponent across the ring, Randy Barber.
Well, these are two relative unknown newcomers to Mid-South Wrestling, both vying for a position. And matchmaker Grizzly Smith put it on as a standby bout. Didn't know how long that Mid-South tag title match would last, so he had to have some standby matches. This was one of them. This is the second standby bout. We got one more scheduled. Tim Horner against another newcomer, Tony Zane, if we have television time remaining. But this is where these guys get a chance to show their wares to the promoters in the Mid-South area, who then ask for them to be in their different towns and coordinate with matchmaker Grizzly Smith. So this is important Important time to these youngsters. Oh, a quick, sneaky little forearm there by Rip Rogers. He's a little bit weird, I think, Boyd. Barber and Rip Rogers, they're going at it. These guys, both youngsters, they're wanting to improve their position in life as far as moving up on these cards. It's important the position you're. Oh, good move. Randy Barber there held on to that top rope. I get lost a little bit calling the names of these guys. I'm not familiar with them. This is my first time to see them. Oh, good move. Inside cradle, Rip Rogers. 1, 2, 3.
And he gains a victory. We'll still have time, so we'll have another match coming up after this word from Mid-South.
This event is for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner, at 260 pounds from Rome, Georgia, Tony Zane. And in the blue corner at 222 pounds from Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Horner.
Another youngster making his debut on Mid-South, Tony Zane versus popular Tim Horner, dressed in the green.
I'll tell you, you don't have to look around for Tim Horner. He'll be after you. Tony Zane, that's my first time to see him. Big youngster. It's a good size. We'll have to see what kind of experience he has out there. One fall or television time remaining. This is the third standby match. These guys are moving out there, but Tim Horner, he's not quick, he's sudden. And of course, still reflecting on that tag match. New tag champions. Mr. Olympia and Ted DiBiase, managed by Skandor Akbar. Now, does this mean that Mr. Olympia has joined the Rat Pack, or does this mean that DiBiase has joined Akbar's army? This is going to be interesting. I know DiBiase was saying that Hacksaw Dugan had gotten a little bit rambunctious in firing Matt Bourne, and that he was back, and that he was the king rat of the big cheese, and he had to kind of straighten Dugan out. He didn't seem to think it'd be a problem. He said Dugan's spirit is kind of what he likes about the guy, but I don't know. Dugan seems to be a little more in control of his spirit than anybody realizes. Less than just a little over a minute of television time remaining. Side headlock. Next week, Boyd, and I know we've been promising it for a long time, but I've been assured by matchmaker Grizzly Smith that we will have midgets, so kids of all ages. Tune in as we have Cowboy Lang and Lone Eagle against Ivan the Terrible and Little Tokyo. That'll be next week. Also, a very important match, a main event match. The main event for TV next week, Mr. Wrestling 2 will face the Black Ninja. Good move here by about less than 1 minute of television time remaining. Tim Horner, they're making some great moves. I'm impressed with these guys. And I really am impressed by Grizzly Smith's attitude of putting these youngsters here on TV where the people can get to see them. Oftentimes, these kids are overmatched against some of the bigger, tougher, more experienced main eventers. I believe in letting them go up against guys of their own caliber so they can see their own improvement and see if they're getting better or worse or just what their chances are in this rough, tough profession. Less than half a minute, Boyd, of airtime left. Oh, what a move by Tim Horner. He's got him. Almost had him. These guys are fighting down the wire, and they're both going for falls. They're trying to pin each other. Tim Horner
right
there.
To the end with them, Bill. Remember, next week the midgets, 4 top midgets. Mr. Wrestling 2 also takes on the Black Ninja. Until then, for Cowboy Bill Watts, I'm Boyd Pierce saying goodbye, everybody, from Mid-South Wrestling. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Mid-South Wrestling Television. I'm your host, Boyd Pierce. Another great card. You'll see Kong Bundy in action. And we've been promising you, we're going to show it to you this week, 4 of the top little midget stars in a tag team action. Mr. Wrestling 2 takes on Kendo Nagasaki. The Black Ninja, Tiger Conway Jr. is here, as is Hacksaw Butch Reed. Mr. Olympia, under his new manager, General Skandor Akbar. Bill Watts, it looks like another outstanding card signed by matchmaker Grizzly Smith.
Well, Boyd, it sure is. And, of course, we finally do have the midgets, and I know everybody at home has been waiting for that. And, again, talking about last week in the very unusual action where Skandor Akbar laid a trap. The bait was $25,000. A all-new team. We figured it'd be Kamala and the Black Ninja, who have certainly been rising to the top as the #1 contenders, but instead, Ted DiBiase and Mr. Olympia and Skandor Akbar. Now, I don't know if this means that Mr. Olympia and Akbar have joined the Rat Pack, or if DiBiase, the head cheese of the Rat Pack, has been absorbed by Skandor Akbar. But whatever it was still a fantastic bout. You and I sitting back, so to speak, from the sidelines looking in, we were watching every moment to see just what surprise Skandor Akbar and that team had up their sleeve. And of course with DiBiase in the loaded glove, but then the new situation with Mr. Olympia got something from Skandor Akbar that he put on his boot, and when he drop kicked Tiger Conway Jr., it knocked him cold. But they are the new tag champions, is Mr. Olympia and Ted DiBiase. Let's look at the closing moments of that tag bout. Tiger Conway Jr. in with DiBiase. Conway and Beal. Akbar getting up on the ring. Conway into the victory roll. He's got DiBiase pinned, but Skandor Akbar drew the referee, and Mr. Olympia made an illegal save. Jumped in and kicked Tiger Conway right in the face. The subterfuge, the distraction by Skandor Akbar, a ring-wise veteran himself. Referee counting them both. Conway going for the tag. DiBiase tags Mr. Olympia. Can Conway get the 2? Oh, that was close. Olympia cut him off, and he's got Conway in the sleeper. He's got him in the sleeper. Conway fighting that sleeper. DiBiase cheering Mr. Olympia on. Akbar jumping up and down, the tension, the pressure mounting. If they can put Conway out, Akbar's got the Mid-South tag titles. Two's getting the crowd to cheer for Conway. Get that adrenaline flowing. Conway fighting to his feet. He's got Olympia up. Conway did a backbreaker on Olympia. He has Olympia up. Can Conway get enough oxygen, enough strength, enough coherence to get back to his partner too and tag him in? DiBiase calling for Olympia to make the tag, knowing both men are hurt, both men are groggy. Two, the fans are exhorting Conway. Olympia, gut shot, headlock. Oh, both men. Here comes DiBiase, but wrestler 2. DiBiase going into the tights, he's loading up his glove. But wrestler 2 spotted it, he's coming, he doesn't care. He's not gonna let DiBiase take advantage. What did Akbar
on the far side.
Akbar handed Mr. Olympia is putting something on his foot. Mr. Olympia is putting something on his foot while wrestler 2 is occupied the referee. He just dropped, he like to tore Conway's head off with that drop kick. 2 knee lifts DiBiase out, but it's too late. It's too late. Mr. Olympia just pinned Tiger Conway Jr. That was the most devastating drop kick I've ever seen. There was something on his foot. Akbar handed him something. Look at Conway out there, wrestling 2 bending over him. But DiBiase and Mr. Olympia have the Mid-South Tag Team titles. And Conway, he's unconscious, Boyd.
He's out, Bill.
Boyd, he's out. A drop kick doesn't knock you out by itself. Well, there you have the new Mid-South Tag Champions, and I think you, like Boyd Pierce and myself, saw just what happened. You be the judge. But now let's go to the ring and Reeser Bowden for the first bout this evening.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 244 pounds, now co-holder of the Mid-South Tag Team Championship, managed by Skandor Akbar and seconded now by Ted DiBiase, Mr. Olympia. And in the blue corner at 205 pounds, from Birmingham, Alabama, Mike Jackson.
Alabama's Mike Jackson versus Mr. Olympia. There you see on the outside of the ring apron stepping down his new manager, General Skandor Akbar. Bill?
And his new cohort, Ted DiBiase, out there seconding him. So Mr. Olympia's got his own built-in cheering section. Of course, Mike Jackson from Alabama, a quick, smaller athlete, a well-experienced athlete. Should be a great match. Well, Mike Jackson is making Olympia wonder just which side he's got to be on. I think he's really surprised Mr. Olympia. Mr. Olympia riding a little bit of a crest of a high of taking the Mid-South Tag Team title in that crucial fall where he drop-kicked Tiger Conway Jr. Mr. Olympia's got some people smoldering. One JYD is really upset, and one Mr. Wrestling 2 is boiling over Mr. Olympia and Tiger Conway Jr. And of course, Ted DiBiase. I just wonder what Ted DiBiase, how he's going to explain. Whoa, look, beautiful move by Mike Jackson, but Olympia almost dove clear under the ring out to the floor, trying to get out of the way, but he got out of the way, and Mike Jackson's in trouble. Olympia showing his power, his conditioning by the way he's handling Mike Jackson. And of course, like I say, what is DiBiase going to say to Hacksaw Dugan? He represented that he would never have anything to do with Skandor Akbar, and in some action in previous matches that he wasn't involved with Akbar. And it looked at one time that I had commented almost like Dugan had caught him in it, and DiBiase was kind of curious as to Dugan's reaction. And DiBiase thinks Dugan's just a little bit rambunctious and that he can control him. DiBiase a little upset because Dugan had fired Matt Bourne. But I've kind of watched Hacksaw Dugan, and I think he's definitely a man that knows his own mind. And he is kind of a, although a rat packer and proud of it, he's kind of a principled guy. He's kind of the guy that says, hey, I'm going to fight you tooth and nail with anything I can get my hands on, any way I can. But it was kind of an honorable type of a battler. And now DiBiase has taken Akbar, and Dugan says there's some things in his family history that Akbar's association with the Iron Sheik of Iran and being an anti-American just won't sit with him. Pile driver. Oh, he snapped his neck. That's one of the most vicious holds in wrestling, a pile driver. And that hold by itself, you can see Mike Jackson doesn't even know where he's at. And still Mr. Olympia slapping the sleeper on top of that. That could be very dangerous. It's totally unnecessary.
It sure is, Bill, and it gains a victory for Mr. Olympia to the delight of Ted DiBiase and Skandor Akbar, who's coming into the ring now.
Well, I also think that Ricky Ferrara was very wise to quickly call it. He didn't wait for the full time like he usually does with the sleeper because he knew Mike Jackson was helpless. But this shows you the Mr. Olympia, the new Mr. Olympia, that he is going to be much more vicious and aggressive.
And we'll be back with more action after this word.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 260 pounds from Rome, Georgia, Tony Zane. And in the blue corner at 252 pounds from Kansas City, Missouri, Hacksaw Butch Reed.
Two powerful young men with muscular physiques, Hacksaw Butch Reed versus Tony Zane. Alfred Neely calls for the bell, and here's Bill.
Well, this should be a great bout. Hacksaw Reed from the Show Me State. And he's been showing Hacksaw Dugan that he well earns his name. It's been a real battle between these two guys as who should be called Hacksaw. Hacksaw Butch Reed, a former All-American, All-Conference linebacker from Central Missouri State, later with the Kansas City Chiefs. Originally from Warrensburg, Missouri, now lives in Kansas City. In the off-season at Central Missouri State, he was on the powerlifting team in the 242-pound class. While in college, and a much younger, less mature man, he was over 1,800 pounds in total lifts. So that, when you're doing the powerlifting, you're doing bench press, deadlift, and squat. Does over 500 pounds on the bench press. In college, used to run a 4.840. Look at that agility, that quick. Oh, the man's got, he's got skills and moves that are just phenomenal. You know what he said? He said he came here because Mid-South, everybody, the whole country over has heard the legend of the Junkyard Dog. And he came here, he said that he wants all the fine things the Junkyard Dog has earned. He said he admits that he's trained with a dog. The dog goes to the gym. He works out religiously, invests his money. The dog still remembers his roots. He still is fully 100% with the people that backed him and supported him when he was a rookie. And that's why Hacksaw Butch Reed came here. He said the Mid-South area is a talk of the world in the wrestling business. He wants to be here. He wants to get the same recognition, the same accolades as a Junkyard Dog, and he's willing to work for them and willing to earn them. And I think that's really something to be a credit to this young man. Tony Zane. Tony Zane's a fine young athlete, good size. We watched him last week as his first match went to a time limit draw, but we were impressed by him, and Grizzly Smith put him in here against Hacksaw Butch Reed. This is when you really get yourself tested, when you go up against one of these top stars. Coming up next, Tiger Conway Jr. Then the main event, the television main event, Mr. Wrestling 2 versus the Black Ninja. This bout should be a phenomenal match. Then the midgets. Then King Kong Bundy will be back. Wild Bill Irwin, another newcomer, Rip Rogers. So we have a lot of new faces today on Mid-South Wrestling. Oh, Tony Zane firing up. He's gonna test him. He's gonna test Hacksaw Butch Reed. Butch Reed, you know, when you're so skilled as Butch Reed, sometimes you can almost be nonchalant in your attitude seemingly. But you just know you have the skills and the confidence, and no matter how much trouble you get in, you got the power and strength to get out. New Mid-South Tag Champions, DiBiase and Olympia and Akbar. I'm never cease to be amazed as the currents in professional wrestling, what people become tag partners, what brings them together, what causes them to split up. Besides money, pride, the prestige, the public, the adoration. Butch Reed looks like he's just going to try to unscrew Tony Zane's head. Tony heeled him across the eyes. Now Tony Zane firing up. Forearm smash. Butch Reed popping those quick left jabs. That double soup bone shot. Oh, double right to the jaw. Looked like Butch Reed a little bit aggravated this time. I tell you, I saw him wrestle the Iron Sheik in Houston, and that was a great bout. We hope to have that bout soon for you here on Mid-South Wrestling. Drop kick. Tremendous strength and agility for a big man. Oh, he leveled him with that flying tackle. Over. 1, 2, 3.
Hacksaw Butch Reed gains a victory. We'll have more action coming up after this word from Mid-South Wrestling.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner, at 280 pounds from El Paso, Texas, Frank Levert. And in the blue corner at 238 pounds from Houston, Texas, Tiger Conway Jr.
Action continues now with big Frank Levert versus the popular star from Houston, Tiger Conway Jr.
Well, Tiger Conway, he was pretty snappy in the dressing room tonight. I was noticing he was pretty upset about last week's situation with Mr. Olympia, and I'm sure after watching the final moments of that back on the replay, he saw just what happened. You know, he saw that Mr. Olympia put something on that foot before he hit him with that drop kick, because Tiger was talking to me. He said, you know, I've been drop kicked by some of the toughest men in wrestling. Tiger is known for throwing a pretty aggressive drop kick himself. But he said this time when it hit, he said it exploded in my head, lights went off, and he said it felt like I'd been hit with a sledgehammer. And apparently Mr. Olympia has devised some new situation, something that's never been seen in wrestling as far as I've been around it, and we're not totally aware of exactly what it's completely entails, but it's certainly effective, because Tiger Conway is one of the toughest young men that I've ever met, and he, when he says he was stung and stunned, that's an understatement. But he's out there, he's making Frank Levert pay the price, and I'm sure he'll be hot on the trail of Mr. Olympia and Ted DiBiase. I know Wrestling 2 was saying he doesn't care if it's a tag match or if he can get either one of them by himself. Want a piece of them. And of course, Mr. Olympia says he's hot on the trail of the Junkyard Dog, and Ted DiBiase also. But that's been known that many people have been on that trail, and they haven't often liked what they found at the end of it, because of JYD, nobody ever had to tell him it was time to start. He was aggressive the minute he woke up, I believe. Armbar, Frank Levert feeling that pain. Coming up next, Mr. Wrestling 2 against the Black Ninja. This will be the toughest test we've seen thus far of the Black Ninja here on television. Tiger Conway showing he's developed some tremendous skills. That was almost like a single or one-footed Tomoe Nagi in judo type move out of an arm bar. These guys have generally worked out in many different styles of, are skilled in many different things, martial arts, wrestling. Some of them have boxed. A lot of them have played football. Frank Levert is not being able to find the handle on Tiger Conway. Conway's been tremendously aggressive tonight and really carrying the battle to him. There he's got him. Oh, Levert was just too darn big to hold like that. Conway's right in, drop toe hold. He is really, really dominating this man. This man is a lot bigger than Conway. But that shows you the skill. You just can't overcome skill and experience and desire. There's Frank Levert. He is just, Frank Levert looks like he's saying, gee whiz, where'd this mixmaster come from? Conway just headbutts him, a flying headbutt off the second rope. Frank Levert just getting up by willpower alone because he sure doesn't want no more. Conway into a victory roll.
1, 2, 3, and Tiger Conway Jr. defeats his 280-pound opponent. We'll be back with more action following this message.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 250 pounds from the Far East and managed by General Skandor Akbar, the Black Ninja, Kendo Nagasaki. In the blue corner at 236 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, Mr. Wrestling 2.
And you heard the cheers at the introduction of Kendo Nagasaki, the Black Ninja. They all turned to cheers with the announcement of his opponent, Mr. Wrestling number 2. Bill, a terrific main event in any arena.
That certainly is, and Kendo Nagasaki, the Black Ninja, he'd like to keep that kendo stick in there with Wrestling 2. But that's not part of the rules, and the referee has him get it out of there. Going right for the head with that thrust kick. This man has got a powerful thrust kick. Like I explained before, you've got so much more reach and range and devastating power with the leg and the foot. As well as you don't take the chance of breaking the foot. It's generally encased in some kind of shoe when it strikes versus the hand where you can break the fist. And people that are adept at using their feet in battle are awesome indeed. As Wrestling 2's knee lift. Oh, I'm telling you, he's starting off right there. He's starting off, sparks will fly. He grabbed that mask. The crowd going 2, 2, 2, 2. Kendo Nagasaki, another martial art oriental who is known to spew the green flame. JYD said he came out of a match, he felt like the Incredible Hulk had been after him with the green coming out. Kendo Nagasaki showing that he can power in there with those tremendous chops. He's like fighting a buzzsaw because he's adept with every member of his body into attacking you. But Wrestling 2 is adept also, and he fires away. Look at Wrestling 2. He flat connects. When he comes after you, he goes for broke. Every ounce, every fiber in his body just explodes. That's the difference in the great athletes. They have that tremendous explosion. When they connect, it just seems like it just lifts you. The ones that have that extension in football, that when they hit you, they can just drive through you. The boxer with that great punch. They're Wrestling 2 like the tenacious, with the tenacity of an American pit bulldog hanging on to that front face lock. I've seen him hold on to some men twice his size, seemingly, with that front face lock till he wears them and grinds them right into the mat. And that right there, my friends at home, against a martial arts man is a good position to be into because he's not on his feet. He can't get into the vulnerability of your throat. Two's making a mistake, letting him back on the feet. He forces Two into the ropes for the break, and you see how quick he strikes on the break. And of course, Akbar right there. Alfred Neely trying to watch them both, and Kendo Nagasaki going into that Oriental martial art type ceremonial dance. He thinks he's got the victory well in hand. Wrestling Two in a lot of trouble. You saw the Kendo Nagasaki knew he was in trouble by being on the mat, got to his base, pushed Two into the ropes, causing the referee to break the hold. And the minute on the break, the split second, that Pearl Harbor-like vicious attack. Oh, but Wrestling Two has been known to come with a little American ingenuity and really fire back. Ladies and gentlemen, this has gotten down to a war, Boyd.
Well, we said it was a main event, and it's proved nothing less.
These men are viciously at each other out there. And Kendo Nagasaki reaching for that mask. He's even threatening the Neely. I don't know just how Akbar manages to communicate, but he finds them from all corners of the world. Skandor Akbar seemingly in dominant control right now of activity in the Mid-South area. Two, thrust kick. He caught that thrust kick. He didn't have the power to get out. It almost tore Two's head off, but Two, ring-wise, savvy veteran he is, got his foot over the rope, which caused the break. Akbar protesting Neely's breaking, and Akbar is trying to get Kendo Nagasaki to finish Two off, but Two exploded with that knee. Now Two. The crowd rises to its feet. Here comes Kamala. Here comes Kamala. When Two hit Akbar, Kamala gave it. Two caught him coming into the ring. Two caught him before he got in the ring. Kamala is out of the floor. Kendo Nagasaki coming up from behind. Now Two caught Kamala again. Kendo Nagasaki. Two caught him in the knee lift. Now Two's down on him. Like a street fight. Here comes Kamala from behind. He went for the splash.
Oh!
But Two saw him coming. Got out of the way. Now Two's carrying it to him. Two's carrying it to him. Listen to this crowd. Look at them on their feet as that living legend shows why he's in the hearts of every man. Wrestling Two with his knee. And he's driving Kamala out, driving Akbar out. And the Ninja, groggy, been smashed. Wrestling Two, Neely diving for the count.
He got him.
Kamala coming back in. Tiger Conway comes down to the dressing room. And he hits Kamala. Kamala head over tea kettle out. And Tiger Conway Wrestling Two. Listen to this crowd. Pandemonium. Pandemonium. And look at Two. He loves it, Tiger Conway and Mr. Wrestling.
A tremendous battle and a great victory for Mr. Wrestling Two, Bill. Everybody on their feet around the ring.
Akbar is just living.
We'll be back with more action, so stay with us when we return after this word.
Boy, the crowd is still buzzing. That was excitement. I'm telling you, I love it. You know, when you see great athletes go at it, and then you see the deck sort of get stacked, and a champion like Two, like he says, the cream rises to the top, and he came through, and then Tiger Conway got there in time to keep him getting him down and to ganging up on him. I'll just tell you, it makes your blood boil, and you're excited, and the crowd was excited. And now let's go to a match we've promised them for, what, about a month, Boyd?
Right.
The midget wrestlers. And I want you to realize at home that these are little men. And I know a lot of kids, they look at these little midgets and say, gee, I'm bigger than that guy. Let me tell you, these are powerful little men, strong little men, and this should be an enjoyable match for you to see. Let's watch it. Boyd Pierce talks about the midget wrestling.
Tag team action now with the biggest little athletes in the world. In the red corner, the internationally known team of Ivan the Terrible and Little Tokyo. This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. And in the blue corner, the All-American team of Cowboy Lang teamed up with Lone Eagle.
Now you have the introduction by Reeser Bowden on this one fall midget tag team match for the top midgets in the world. Lone Eagle and Cowboy Lang on one side against Ivan the Terrible and Little Tokyo. Last week we promised you we would have this match. Our time ran out. You saw what happened in the team match last week between Hacksaw Duggan and Matt Bourne against Mr. Wrestling and Tiger Conway Jr. We promised you we'd have it, and now we're showing it to you now. In the ring, representing their team, Ivan the Terrible. On one side, and on the other, you have a little Lone Eagle, the Indian wrestler. Alfred Neely, the referee in the ring. A lot of people say this is entertainment. I'll tell you, these are fine professional athletes, miniature style, but pound for pound, just as good as their larger counterparts in professional wrestling. Side headlock, little Lone Eagle on Ivan the Terrible. Here comes little Tokyo, and he runs right, there he goes. Talk about agility and ability. It was proven by Cowboy Lang in the center of the ring. Right back with a side headlock on Ivan the Terrible. Alfred Neely warning little Tokyo to stay out of the action. Side by side, Ivan the Terrible there. He's complaining to the referee, Alfred Neely. Stay with these little fellas because they're dynamite in small form. Little Tokyo coming in and making his first appearance. Cowboy Lang. Little Tokyo stepping across once again. And a drop kick sends him to the chin, takes him down. Little Tokyo on the mat for the count of one. Alfred Neely on the bottom as he went across the top, and the referee suffered the consequences. Little Tokyo holding on to that strand of rope with a cable inside the strand, kicking it off as the referee loosening, and Little Tokyo now picks a quarrel with the referee, and to tell him about it also is his partner on the outside of the ring, Ivan the Terrible. Once again, holding on to that strand of rope, Little Tokyo. And holding on to him, Cowboy Lang, and suffering the consequences, Alfred Neely, and moving about, and Little Tokyo running in the wrong direction, takes a right from Cowboy Lang, and in comes Ivan the Terrible. Smashing him head first into the turnbuckle over on the far side. Now, Lone Eagle in. But Alfred Neely moved him out. Little Tokyo coming in as Alfred Neely's back is turned. Double teaming him now, Little Tokyo. On top, the referee did not see it for the 2 count, not a victory. Little Tokyo, and there you see the war dance of Lone Eagle. Cartwheels, turning 1, 2, 3. With the hair of the head, the chop going up the hand. Here it comes down. Little Lone Eagle on Little Tokyo, who stops it with chops of his own and sends him reeling over in the far corner. Little Tokyo tags in. Ivan the Terrible now. Body slam on Lone Eagle, rolling over, and here they come back, and jumping just in time, Alfred Neely, Little Tokyo, but comes entwined. Neely couldn't backtrack fast enough as the little speedster now has him on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, all 4 of them, all 4 midgets on top of the referee. There goes one away, leaving 2, off 1, and there you see a red-faced Alfred Neely as he become entwined between all 4 of the top midget stars. Of course, there's Little Tokyo blaming the other team on the far side. Back to 1-on-1 in the ring. Cowboy Lang and Ivan the Terrible. Shoot him into the ropes to the midsection, and simultaneous making a tag as Lone Eagle comes in as the legal partner now. Having a terrible, and Little Tokyo double teaming the Indian Lone Eagle over in the corner, makes the tag, and now Tokyo in legally. Having a terrible, slow in leaving. Little Tokyo high in the air. Crashing down was Lone Eagle, taking a foot to the stomach. Now head first into the turnbuckle on the second strand, which is a high one for the midgets. There they go. The referee over in the far side. Let's see it on top. There he calls for the bell. It was a 1, 2, 3 as the Lone Eagle goes down in defeat, and the victors, Having a Terrible and Little Tokyo, in an outstanding tag team midget match. We'll be back with more action after this message.
This event is for one fall with a 10-minute time limit. In the red corner at 420 pounds from Atlantic City, New Jersey, Devastation Incorporated, King Kong Bundy. And in the blue corner at 228 pounds from Nashville, Tennessee, Randy Barber.
The introduction of the next event, Tennessee's Randy Barber against the man from the boardwalk of Atlantic City, King Kong Bundy.
Boy, I bet they had to reinforce the boardwalk where he walked. Because I'm sure, like he said, he was a bully of the boardwalk, and he walked anywhere he wanted. But can you imagine running into him in the dark night? That'd scare you out of 10 years of growth.
It just looks like he could just drive you right through the mat, Bill, just looking at him.
Randy Barber, 228 pounds against a man 420. Now that, without a doubt, on the surface is a complete mismatch. But I'd like to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, the national champion, the NCAA collegiate champion that took his second national title at heavyweight was Lou Bannock of Iowa, and he weighed 210 pounds, and he beat a great 400-pound heavyweight named Mitch Shelton in the semifinal, and Mitch Shelton weighed over 400 pounds. And last year, he also beat Tad Thacker, who was a 420-pound heavyweight. So it doesn't always give the big man total superiority. But I think in this instance that Bundy has the ability as well as the size and the strength, whereas Randy Barber is just out there going to get slaughtered. I'm sure anxious for Grizzly Smith to test Bundy, you know, just like the Ninja got tested. This is the first time we've seen him on TV. I guess, oh, look at that. Bundy just ran over him. That's just like a big semi-trailer hitting a Volkswagen. That's just a one-handed slam he is, just like a rag doll. Look at him. Bundy's annihilating him. Devastation Incorporated. Well, Ralph Neely hit the three, boy. You're hitting that bell too quick. You got to wait on the referee because Bundy, you know, requires a 5 count. He said there's not going to be any doubt.
And thus far, he's never left any doubt. At every opponent, he's waited 5 count, and he sometimes can get 6
I noticed the crowd when he's coming in, we're chanting, "Go home, Bundy, go home, Bundy."
We have tag team action coming up right after this word.
It's tag team action now for one fall or remaining television time. In the red corner at 258 pounds from Minnesota, Wild Bill Irwin. And his partner at 227 pounds from Los Angeles, California, Rip Rogers. In the blue corner at 250 pounds from Topeka, Kansas, Art Cruz. And his partner at 222 pounds from Knoxville, Tennessee, Tim Horner.
Tag team action now as the bull-whipping Wild Bill Irvin joins forces with California's Rip Rogers versus Art Cruz and Tim Horner, who's in the ring now.
Boy, I'm looking forward to this. This should be a great match. One fall or television time remaining. We're going to do something a little different tonight here on Mid-South Sports. When the television time runs out, the match here at the Irish McNeil Boys Club will continue until there is a victory for the fans. If there's not a victory before TV time. Of course, if there's a victory before the television time runs out, it'll be just like normal. great fans that come out here to the Irishman Eagle Boys Club at the Shreveport State Fairgrounds to see the Mid-South television taping. Oh, Rip Rogers tried to cross Art Cruz, but Art Cruz was waiting on him on that move. These are youngsters here. The only one that you would consider really an established main eventer at this point is Wild Bill Irwin, who we saw start his career here on Mid-South Wrestling. So this is a great match. These kids are all trying so hard because right here on TV in front of you fans at home and the promoters in the different towns who watch Mid-South and then ask for different individuals on their cards that they think that the people in their towns will enjoy. They contact Grizzly Smith and coordinate this, and it's a way for these young men to show their skill, show their talent, and as they increase in skill and talent, they also increase in monetary reward as they move up on that card. Wild Bill Irwin powering away. Next week we hope to have Johnny Rich versus the Black Ninja. We're also trying to get a match with Tiger, Conway Jr., and Mr. Wrestling 2 against Super Destroyer and Superstar. 3 minutes airtime left. We certainly hope to have some highlights out of the Superdome. Some very important bouts there. Tremendous amount of excitement. Hacksaw Dugan will be back next week, and Hacksaw Dugan says he wonders why promoter Paul Bosch in Houston is dodging the issue over the Brass Knucks Championship. There's just so much action going on in the Mid-South area. Oh, Rip Rogers got them on her way as Art Cruz rushed back for the tag. What that Wrestling 2 and that Ninja and Akbar's group, I love it when somebody pins a tail on Akbar's group. And Wrestling 2, he gave it his all, and I'm telling you, the people appreciate it today. Got about 2 minutes airtime remaining, Boyd Pierce. I'll tell you, I'm really proud of Mid-South and matchmaker Grizzly Smith, you, Boyd Pierce, the matches here on TV, midgets, main events, everything. And that's the fans that invite us into their home each week are what make Mid-South Wrestling the #1 television program in the United States today. They've got a loyal following. Art Cruz going for broke, and Bill Irwin got out of the way, and Art Cruz is paying his lumps. These are your stars of tomorrow. Well, I can remember when Ted DiBiase was Rookie of the Year when he faced such tough competition as Killer Carl Cox and Dick Murdoch. And now Ted DiBiase is one of the top stars in the world today. Of course, Killer Carl Cox is retired. Good move. There's a fall, baby. I thought we were going to get a fall right here. Less than 1 minute airtime. These guys are really pulling out the stops. They want this victory right here. Wild Bill Irwin, a man with a bullwhip. He can pop and crack that whip at the arenas when he goes to the ring. The people's ears almost sends the way he pops that whip, and he's been bragging that he's going to put some marks on a few of these opponents. Boyd, we're running down in airtime. These guys are really trying for a victory. This is a well, even matched team. A lot
Tremendous
of
battle, Bill. We're going to stay with it as long as we can.
the crowd is loving it. They're staying right with it.
Remember, next week now, Johnny Rich takes on Kendo Nagasaki, the Black Ninja, and we'll have all the exciting action. We look forward to seeing you. For our guest commentator, Bill Watts, I'm Boyd Pierce saying goodbye, everybody, from Mid-South Wrestling.